Welcome to the video for CMIC3 Unit 6 Trigonometric Functions. On this paper we are modeling situations using trigonometric functions. Oscillation means something goes back and forth, which is what the sine and the cosine function do. So when I have something that goes back and forth, I can model that with the sine or the cosine function. First problem is the rabbit population problem. Rabbit population in a field varies depending on the food supply. In the winter it reaches a low of 500. In the summer the population increases to 800. You need an equation to model the population starting in July at time t equals 0 months. Like anything else, I'm looking for the amplitude, vertical shift, period, and deciding whether it's sine or cosine. But I have to get that out of the story in this case. So amplitude was the maximum minus the minimum. I need to get those out of the story, and typically that's what you're going to find. In this case, I have a maximum value. P is my population. The maximum is 800. And the minimum is 500. So to do my amplitude, I take the maximum minus the minimum, divide it by 2. So my amplitude is 300 divided by 2, which equals 150. Vertical shift, I need to find my midpoint. So first of all, I'm going to start graphing this just so I have something visual to look at. I know I need to go up to 800, and I only need to go down to 500, but I'm going to see if I can start 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800. That will work. So, get this out of the way. So I'm going to be at 800, I'm going to be at 500. My midline is going to be halfway in between. So to find my midline, I can take my 800 and subtract my 150, or add 150 to 500. I'm going to do that. I'll take my 500 and I add 150. I'll get 650. So the midline is going to be at 650. I need to add 650 to everything to move that up. Period, I need to look at the story. And based on the story, I can see that this is a yearly cycle. And we want to graph time in months. So my period is going to be 12 because there are 12 months in a year. So now I have to look at my situation to see if I'm doing sine or cosine. I want to start in July, so my time will start in July. And I look at the story. In the winter it's 500. In the summer it goes to 800. So July is the maximum time. So when I graph July, I'm going to be at my maximum. I'm going to be at 800, and I'm going to go down from there, which is the characteristic of the cosine. Sine starts at the midline, cosine starts at the maximum. I want to start graphing at the maximum. So I know I have cosine, my period, so I'll just start writing my equation. So my amplitude was 150. I'll multiply that by the cosine. Cosine I have to multiply by, the x value. Before I take cosine, I have to multiply the x value by something that will make my period go to 2 pi. So I'll take 2 pi divided by 12. It's going to give me pi over 6. And if I go back, put pi over 6 here. If I go back to my story, if x is 12, x is going to be the maximum. 12 months will be one cycle, x will be a full cycle. X equal 12 would be a full cycle. 12 times pi over 6 would give me 2 pi. When I go through a full cycle, the cosine will see 2 pi, which will take the cosine through a full cycle. And then I add my vertical shift. So I graph that now. So I'll graph July will be 0, 2, 6, 10, 11, 12. And I'm only going to be able to graph one cycle. Well, actually the instructions say graph 2 cycles. So I will do that. I'm going to have to go by 2s though. So I'll go 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. And at T0 I'm at 800, we've decided that. And halfway through, by the time I get to winter would be another 6 months, I will be at 500. At 12 months, I'm back in the summer again, so I'm at 800. And then 2, 4, 6 months puts me in the winter. And 2, 4, 6, I'm back in the summer. And I will hit my midline halfway between. So at 3 months, I will be at 650. At 9 months, I will be at 650. And at 13 months, 12 plus 3 will be 15 months. I'm at 650. And 18 plus 3 would be 21 months. I'm at my midline. And then I just draw a smooth curve between those as best I can. Try the other problems. Second problem is a tide problem. On the back, there's a problem about the electric currents and an oil well pump. Oil well pump goes up and down. You have to model that. Let me know if you have questions.